Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Classics, Kobra Khan. Finally, a new member of the Snake Men is here to back up King Hiss. Or is it a new evil warrior to back up Skeletor? Either way, Kobra Khan is here. Khan comes in the standard Masters of the Universe Classics blister card packaging. Notice that he does not include the Snake Men logo sticker on the front. That's because in the vintage line, Khan was actually a member of Skeletor's Evil Warriors. Of course, this is a good opportunity for you to use those Snake Men stickers from your last year's subscription if you want to do so. The back of that box shows off a selection of other figures from the line, as well as a brand new bio for Kobra Khan. Kobra Khan gives us a brand new male buck with some newly sculpted details on the chest. He borrows quite a bit from the vintage figure as far as his color scheme goes, featuring greens and browns. He has trunks with a bright green belt instead of the usual furry loincloth. And he's got some newly detailed boot pieces sitting atop the usual Skeletor demon feet. I'm pretty impressed with the head sculpt on this guy. Much like Leech, the vintage figure's head sculpt was a bit compromised by the action feature that allowed Khan to squirt water from his mouth. The Horseman did an awesome job of sculpting a really good looking snake head that doesn't look like it was just merely meant to be a squirt gun. But at the same time, the shape of the head is still very reminiscent of the vintage action figure. It's an amazingly cool hybrid of the two. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at Kobra Khan. Alright, so first we'll go and take a look at his articulation here. It is pretty much the standard articulation that you've seen on any of the Masters of the Universe Classics figures so far, so you pretty much already know what to expect. He's got a full range of motion in the head there. Does go forward and backward pretty good and side to side. You got the nice ball jointed shoulders, good bicep twists, you got the elbow cuts, the wrist joints, you got the waist swivel. You got the ab crunch there. You got a good range of leg articulation. The loincloth piece on him is one of those pieces that actually does go all the way across. He doesn't have the furry loincloth. It is separated down on the bottom here, and you can see it is a very soft plastic, so it's real pliable. It does not get in the way of the articulation. You can see his legs can come all the way forward, so if you want to do a sitting pose, you want to put him in the Wind Raider, anything like that, he should have no problems doing that. He could sit on Battle Cat, Swiftwind, any creature like that if you want to mount him on a steed. On top of that, then he's got the usual knee joints, he's got the swivels at the shins there, and then he's got the ankle joints. These are newer calf pieces, you can see, made for Kobra Khan here. I don't believe we've seen these before, and they do cover up the pin in the ankle. So there is no joint showing on the ankle there. And the joints do seem pretty tight. They're not clicking like some of the ones we've seen in the past have. They move kind of smooth, but they're not too loose. I mean, he doesn't really seem to have any issues standing or anything like that. Now, the rest of the joints on this figure I find are overly tight, like some of the tightest joints I've seen so far. And I know I've said that on the past couple figures, but Kobra Khan here really does kind of bring that to a new level. His biceps are very tight. You can see how slow they are to move because of how tight they are. Same with the actual bicep cuts there. Now, here is one thing that I thought was really strange, and I don't know exactly what's causing this, but the elbow joints on Kobra Khan are so tight that they don't seem to move as much as they should be moving. I didn't know if this was attributed to the forearm piece at first, but I did notice that this is the same forearm that we saw in Whiplash. And Whiplash's range of motion seems to be pretty fluid, and his elbow moves up and down just fine. On Kobra Khan here, you can see that he kind of doesn't go all the way up like he should. Like, instead of going all the way up to the bicep, the elbow just kind of stops halfway up. And you kind of have to force it the rest of the way up. And when you do that, the plastic's actually kind of, you can see it forcing in the elbow joint there. And I don't know how good this is going to come across on camera, but it is something that really struck me as odd while I was playing around with him and posing him, because it doesn't seem like much. The right arm's worse, as you can see. Like, that's as much as his elbow moves. And that doesn't maybe necessarily sound like really a big issue or anything, and it probably isn't, but it is noticeable when you're trying to do things like pose him with his gun up to his side and stuff like that, because his elbow just doesn't go all the way up like you would expect it to. It's interesting. So like I said, I don't know if it's just because the peg is tightened a little too much or what exactly the problem is there. And maybe not everybody's is going to be like that. But it is something I felt was worth pointing out. Again, could be a non-issue for most people, but thought it was noteworthy. So one of the other things I want to talk about with Kobra Khan here, first of all, he's not wearing an actual armor piece. This is all sculpted on the buck. So this right here is a new buck for Kobra Khan. All these pieces are sculpted on. They're not separate pieces there. They are attached to the figure. And then Kobra Khan does have interchangeable heads. Now the reason I want to talk about this right now is because I want to show you, we've got the hooded head. And the hood on this head is a firm, thick plastic. So you can see it's not real pliable or flexible. It's got a little bit of bend to it, but it is real solid. Now, of course, you can already imagine where this is going. The head pops off, just like the standard figures. Real tight peg, neck peg, which is great. You snap on that new head, looks awesome, but you don't expect to get a lot of movement out of it, though. You can see that he does turn side to side a little bit, but of course, that hood is going to block his movement going from side to side. It's not terrible. I mean, you can see you can still turn his head a little bit. And you got to expect that you're just not going to get a full range of motion out of a big hooded head like that. But still something I wanted to show you so that you can see exactly how it works. And that right there is pretty much the gist of Kobra Khan. The hooded head features the same face as the non-hooded version. You can also see that the shape of the head is still the same, just with the added details of the hood. The hood features some detailing down the back, but it's all that same solid dark green color. The inside of the hood is a lighter green to help it stand out, and overall it really adds a very angry and menacing tone to the figure. For an accessory, Kobra Khan includes a bright red gun, just like his vintage action figure. Now, the vintage figure actually shared the same gun as Zodak. This new version, while looking similar, is actually a different sculpt than the one that Zodak came with, which is a really nice touch. He can hold the gun firmly in his right hand, however, his left hand is one of the open hands, so the gun cannot actually be held there. As an added bonus, Kobra Khan also comes with his little buddy from the 2000X MYP cartoon series. The little lizard named Pixel. Why is his name Pixel?
Let's see, so he's got his little buddy. We never came up with a name for him. Maybe we'll call him Pixel.
Yes, that's his name now.
That doesn't really make, I guess Eternia has technology. So he's got his little buddy here.
Okay, so maybe it's not officially Pixel, but from here on out, that's his name to me, so you guys are just going to have to deal with it. Pixel is a solid sculpted piece with no articulation. He's sculpted in such a way so that he can sit on Kobra Khan's shoulder just like in the cartoon. It doesn't snap on, but it is shaped to form-fit onto his shoulder, and it sits there pretty well. Now, if you wish to display Khan with his hooded head, it is a little hard to display Pixel on his shoulder as the hood gets in the way of the tail. If you play around with it enough, you can get him to sit there, though. And overall, this is just a really cool little bonus accessory for this figure. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Here's Kobra Khan alongside his vintage counterpart. You can really see the similarities in the colors and the sculpt, especially in the shape of his head. And here he is alongside the 2000X version, which featured the hood, a slimmer body, but was also a much darker green. Kobra Khan is one of those characters who can have multiple places to stand on your toy shelves because of his many backstories. Perhaps you want him behind Skeletor with the rest of your evil warriors, ready to infiltrate the Snake Men as a spy. Or maybe he can side with Evil Lyn in a plot to release King Hiss and overthrow Skeletor. Or perhaps you just want to put him alongside King Hiss to finally bolster the ranks of the Snake Men. However you decide to display him, Kobra Khan is an awesome addition to the line. He's a classic character that features an awesome new sculpt with some really cool display options. Kobra Khan goes on sale on March 15th, 2012 on MattyCollector.com and is part of the Club Eternia subscription. Until next time.